Welcome to the Pasig Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception, the center of Catholic faith and Diocese of Pasig. Together, let us walk through the history of this church, made rich by the people's faith in God and their devotion to their patroness, the Immaculate Conception.
Pasig, an old town that is rich in culture and history, a river-based settlement that values its heritage and its people, who look up to the Blessed Mother for guidance and protection. This is the story of its mission parish, its patroness, the Immaculada Concepcion de Pasig, and her prayerful community. The earliest settlers in Pasig were groups of people from various cultures and races, like the Chinese and the Malay. They grew into a community engaging in trade because a great tributary called the Pasig River, which connected the port in Manila to the great freshwater lake in Laguna, where the needed plant grew in much abundance. The town was ruled by Gat Lontok and his wife, Dayang Kalangitan, whose descendants later became Soliman II of Manila and Lacandula of Tondo. During the benevolent reign of Dayang Kalangitan, Pasig became a major hub for thriving business and trade. And by the time the Spaniards came to Manila in 16th century, Pasig was already a prosperous town. The conversion to Christianity of Pasig's inhabitants was attributed to an Augustinian friar named Muy Reverendo Padre Fray Alonso de Alvarado, who after learning Tagalog language, immediately preached to and converted the people of Pasig, Cainta, Taytay, and Bay to the Christian faith. The mission parish of Pasig began as a small wooden church erected by the Spanish Cals Agustinians in 1572. The church was named after Nuestra Señora de las Visitaciones Mariae de Pasig and was officially accepted with the Philippine province of the Most Holy Name of Jesus of the Order of St. Augustine and its tri-annual meeting held in Manila on March 30, 1575. The mission church in Pasig thus became the first Marian parish in the whole of Asia. From this humble thatch wooden church, the community later decided to build a new and stronger church to accommodate the growing number of devotees. The adobe church was constructed by Chinese craftsmen and local workers. Many of them were believed to have given their very lives in the course of building the meter-thick adobe stone church. After the initial completion of the stone church, the titular of the Visitaciones was changed to that of the Immaculate Conception on April 25, 1587. The church served as a center of faith for pilgrims from Laguna and throughout the whole of Rizal province. The Pasig Stone Church that we see today at its present site was built during the term of Fray Felix de Trillo in 1705. The church has retained much of its original design, although its original interiors have seen considerable changes, with the good intention of improving on it. The statue of Nuestra Señora de la Paz y Buen Viaje, or Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage of Antipolo, made a huge impact when she passed through the Central Canal, or estero called Bituhang Manok, on January 23, 1748. Before making Antipolo her permanent home. On November 8, 1762, the British Army overpowered the Spaniards and local defenders of Manila. The British positioned a station in Pasig and controlled the town until the war was ended in 1764. The British looted the convent and desecrated its sacred books. The church first bells were melted and molded into cannonballs. Padre Manuel Blanco, the renowned author of Flora de Filipinas, made a pioneering study on the flowers of the Philippines during his tenure in this church. During the Filipino uprising of 1896, the Pasigueño revolutionaries led by Valentin Cruz threw out the Augustinian friars. The friars hastily vacated the Pasig Church and left a Filipino priest, Presbitero Don Victor Ramos y Aguilion, to take over. But the paradise that was Pasig was short-lived. When the Philippines was sold to the United States by Spain, the Filipinos perceived that another colonizer would soon lord it over the whole archipelago. The Americans took hold of the church, the rectory, and even the cemetery. They desecrated the church and used it as a garrison campaign, which ended over a year later on February 14, 1900. The whole church was then turned over to Padre Ramos, except for the cemetery where the American remained encamped. In June 1901, the Second Philippine Commission, headed by the future American President, Howard Taft, used the church premises for its session to create the province of Rizal, making Pasig its capital. The new image of the Immaculate Conception was acquired through the coffers of the Archbishop of Manila. Local historians recount that the image of the patroness arrived in Pasig during the first years of the American occupation aboard a casco or barge. The Pasigueños under the Centro Católico zealously welcomed the image and brought it to the main altar where it was enthroned, proclaimed, and venerated. Congregatio Immaculati Cordis Mariae, or CICM missionaries, led by Father Cornelius de Brouwer, arrived in Pasig Church in 1910 to be its official administrator. Catechism was taught and baptism was administered in the mission parish. 3 years later, the Belgian Confrères established a religious school for the people of Pasig, which would be known later as the Pasig Catholic College. Under the American regime, electricity was installed in Pasig, and public transportation like the tranvia became available. Today, the people of Pasig speak of how the religious faith helped the town survive the Japanese occupation from 1942 to 1945. Old folks say that townspeople continued to fill the church on Sunday and even on weekdays, though there was a total blackout that nighttime. The people still flocked to the church to celebrate the novenario of the Feast of the Patroness. The Belgian Confrères stayed until 1979, leaving Father Andres Desmet and Father Urbano Timmermans to continue their work. Father Desmet teamed up with then Monsignor Manuel Sobreviñas, the first Filipino parish priest of the Pasig Church, and Bishop Emeritus of Diocese in Cavite to strengthen the devotion of Pasigueños to the Immaculate Conception. The succeeding diocesan parish priests have continually demonstrated their zeal in reinvigorating the Marian spirit throughout the years. Annual fiestas in honor of its patroness are held by a faithful every December 8. By August 21, 2003, the Church had evolved from a mission parish to a cathedral by a virtue of its transformation to the Diocese of Pasig under the governance of His Excellency Most Reverend Francisco C. San Diego, the first Bishop of Pasig. For hundreds of years, the people of Pasig have been praying and hoping for a canonical coronation to be bestowed on Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception as the highest expression of love, gratitude, and devotion. And so, on the request of the first Bishop of Pasig, Most Reverend Francisco San Diego, the Holy Father Pope Benedict XVI granted the request on August 6, 2008. Father Roy M. Rosales brought the precious crown, which was blessed by the Holy Father himself on October 29, 2008. The Papal Nuncio, His Excellency, Most Reverend Edward Joseph Adams, crowned the Virgin on December 7, 2008, in the presence of the bishops of the Philippines, government officials of Pasig, Pateros and Taguig, the clergy, and the lay faithful of the Diocese of Pasig. At the end of the Holy Mass on the same day, the newly canonically crowned image of the patroness left the church for the first time in more than 100 years to majestically lead a procession through the main thoroughfares of Pasig. Through their tireless faith and devotion to the Immaculate Conception, the Pasigueños were able to survive the onslaught of various misfortunes and emerge as a stronger and more united community. The Immaculate Conception continues to be their source of strength and inspiration, a protector and mother who leads all devotees to her Son, Jesus Christ.
From the time the Spaniards planted the seed of faith on this parish to the present era, the Immaculate Conception has been a living presence among the Pasigueños. She has guided her children in this community of believers every step of the way in their pilgrimage of faith, as a fond object of our devotion and model of holiness. Let us always honor her by following her footsteps and imitating her virtues. Nuestra Señora de la Immaculada Concepción de Pasig, ora pro nobis. Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception of Pasig, pray for us.